Welcome to Marine Biology Network. I'm Bival Bo, interviewing coral reef specialist Taylor Blada. Good morning, Taylor.
Hi Bo, thanks for having me.
So tell us, where are coral reefs found?
Coral reefs are found on the continental shelf, but are not all located in all parts of the world.
That's cool.
They have to be in warm tropical climates in order to survive. To be more specific, they're located between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. To ensure they survive, they need to have a hard surface to attach to and make sure light can penetrate them.
Very interesting. How are coral reefs formed?
Okay, well, coral reefs consist of two major components, reef builders and reef inhabitants. Reef builders produce the reef structure by constructing calcium carbonate and around their bodies. Coralline algae also produce reefs by growing over and around reefs and producing a hard protective layer shielding the reef from strong waves.
Yeah. Tell me about the phylum and classes of corals.
While corals are in the phylum Cnidaria and the class Anthozoa, there are two groups of organisms in the class Anthozoa. First group, Alcydonaria, soft corals, sea fans, and sea pens. And then there's Zoantheria, including sea anemones and three types of corals, stony corals, false corals, and black corals.
How do corals obtain food?
Well, you see, each coral is a tiny polyp and has tiny tentacles to capture the food. They also have stinging structures called nematocysts to stun prey. Most corals are colonial, made up of tiny individual polyps living next to one another, surrounded by a calcium skeleton called corallite. Each corallite has sharp ridges called septa around its perimeter, and central projections from the floor of the corallite cup called columella.
Taylor, how exactly do corals reproduce?
Well, you see, some have sperm and eggs and can reproduce sexually by releasing the gametes into their living area. Once the eggs are fertilized, a planula larva results. The transformation from larval to adult form is called metamorphosis. After metamorphosis, polyps can divide again and again to create other identical corals.
I've seen that there are many types of coral that grow all different ways. Are there particular names for these different corals?
Yes, there's encrusting and boulder corals that bud sideways or upward. Branching corals are made of vertically bubbled polyps. Fallacious corals use a combination of both horizontal and vertical directions.
Well, I've seen many different looking reefs, but I've never known the scientific difference between them. Care to share?
Sure! Fringing reefs form a border along the coast. Inside the fringing reefs, there's reef flats, which is the area closest to shore. Reef crests are where the fringing reefs slope downward, and most prolific coral growth occurs. Last is the reef slope, which goes into deeper water. There's also barrier reefs that occur at a distance from the coast. Then there's my personal favorites, atoll, which is a ring of coral reef with steep outer slopes enclosing a shallow lagoon found in the Indian and Pacific Ocean.
Awesome. So, last question. What types of animals live in the coral reefs?
There's so much diverse life in coral reefs,
Yeah.
but to name a few, there's sea turtles, sharks and rays, dolphins, many species of crabs, starfish, mollusks, and many more.
Sounds like a good place to explore. Anyways, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
This was a production of Marine Biology Network. Thanks for viewing.